Hey chef, how you doing? Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're going to be making 3 ground beef recipes. All right, we're going to get started with just classic cheeseburgers. For these cheeseburgers, you're going to want about a pound of ground beef. I would get the 80-20 variety. Whatever seasoning you want for your ground beef, I would recommend salt, pepper, onion, garlic. You're going to want buns, obviously, and cheese. For cheese, I prefer American. Now, to me, a classic cheeseburger is going to have mayo, mustard, ketchup, lettuce, onion, tomato, pickles. Grab a bowl, throw your ground beef in there, and whatever seasonings you want. Now, with clean hands, and preferably no jewelry on, mix the beef with your hands. That's going to be the most efficient way to do this. It's okay if you're too scared, but I do believe in you. I think you can do this. It's actually quite fun. I will say it's a little cold. Now divide your pound of ground beef into 4 equalish sized meatballs. Yes, meatballs. We're not flattening these into patties yet, okay? Just go with me. Get a pan nice and hot. Set your little meatball in there. Let him sit there as is for 3 minutes, okay? Just let him cook. After 3 minutes of cooking, you're going to take a nice sturdy spatula and smash it down as flat as you want your burger, or maybe even a little thinner because it is going to shrink up and puff back up a little bit. If you don't have a sturdy spatula, which used to be me, I would use the back of a very sturdy spoon, a bowl, like get creative. There's something you can smush this thing with. All right, probably after like 2 minutes, you can flip that over. Look at all that delicious, yummy caramelization. Now that you have flipped it, put your cheese on top of that burger while that other side is cooking. This way you're going to have nice hot melted cheese, not hot burger with cold cheese. Probably after another 2 minutes, it's going to be ready. You can take that off, maybe put it on a paper towel on a plate, soak up some of that grease. And now let's dress our bun. Like I said, classic cheeseburger, we're going mayo, mustard, ketchup, lettuce, onion, tomato, pickles. Of course, fries would be a classic side. However, if you want to challenge yourself and have something really delicious, I recommend these super easy air fryer potatoes. I'm going to leave the link below. There's Parmesan cheese on them. They are so nicely seasoned, so easy to make. Loved these. Et voilà, a classic cheeseburger. Moving on to our next recipe. Let's make some ground beef quesadillas. My mom made these growing up, and you can cook them on the stove for 1 or 2 people, or if you need to cook for more, I would recommend cooking in the oven. That's how my mom would do it. Plus, it gives you a little bit of time to be hands off. Again, you will need some ground beef. About a pound is going to make 4 small quesadillas. You're going to need flour tortillas. You can choose any size, but I do prefer the smaller ones. They're easier to flip when the time comes, and they do crisp up more. You're going to want 1 packet of taco seasoning per pound of beef. That's about 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. Shredded cheese and oil or butter. Now, optional, but of course, in your ground beef mixture, feel free to throw in some diced onion, diced bell pepper, leftover spinach, like whatever you need to use up. And for toppings, I'm going to be using salsa, guacamole, and full-fat Greek yogurt in place of sour cream. Get a pan hot, throw in your ground beef, mash it up real good. Put your taco seasoning on there. Once that's starting to get brown, you can throw in any vegetables you want to put in here, or don't put anything. It's fine. Just let this cook all the way. Now, if you are cooking these on the stove, you're going to get a separate pan. You're going to get it nice and hot. Throw some butter down in there, and you're going to build your quesadilla in the pan right here. Throw down a tortilla, your cheese, your meat mixture, more cheese, and your other tortilla. Let that cook maybe 3 minutes or so. I don't know. I don't know your stove. I don't know what pan you're using, how hot you've got it turned up. So I would just take your spatula and give it a peek. Do you want it burnt? Well, then wait till it's black. If you want it beautifully golden and perfect, then just look out for that. Once it's there, just flip it over, cook the other side, and you're done with that. Now, if you want to cook these in the oven, you're going to preheat your oven to 375. You're going to take 1 tortilla, Pour a little bit of oil on that tortilla, just a little. You're going to smush that against another tortilla and lightly rub them together. Get out your baking pan and throw down one tortilla with the oiled side down. Add on your cheese, your meat mixture, more cheese, and your other tortilla oiled side up. Put that in your preheated oven for about 7 to 9 minutes. Take it out, flip it over, put it back in for 7 to 9 minutes. Now here's a neat trick my husband taught me. When you cut into these, instead of taking your pizza slicer and starting at one end, and then driving it through and inevitably shifting that top tortilla and kind of smearing your quesadilla all over, just take that pizza slicer and smush it right down into the middle. Start from the middle, and then that's going to kind of staple everything together, and you can cut from there. You can have your toppings on the side if you want. I prefer to dress mine up like a cute little birthday cake. I smeared on some guacamole, dollop of the yogurt, drizzle of the salsa. These were delicious. If you cooked in the oven, it's probably going to be crispier. If you cooked it on the stove, it's going to be buttery, delicious, a little less crispy. And our last recipe is more of a concept than a recipe. Growing up, my mom would keep a 2-quart pitcher in the freezer, and any leftover vegetables would go into that pitcher. And once it was full, she would dump all of those frozen vegetables into a pot, add some ground beef, some tomatoes, some broth, and make a soup. So that's what we're doing. I have a 1-quart size bag of frozen leftover vegetables and a pound of ground beef. So let's take a look at this recipe. This is a Southern woman. She can't tell me exact measurements. She wants a big old can of crushed tomatoes. Broth, I would recommend beef, but I used chicken and it was still great. Whatever leftover vegetables you have. Also, check your freezer for half a bag of lima beans or peas or whatever the heck you need to get rid of. Now get out your favorite soup pot and brown your ground beef. Throw some minced onion in there if you want. Season it up however you like. Of course, we're using spag. I did eventually add some chili powder into this as well. I would recommend a leaner mixture of ground beef, but all I had was this 80-20 in my freezer. To get rid of some grease, all I had to do was take a paper towel, set it down in there, soak up that grease, pick that up, throw that in the trash. Now you can add in your broth. I would start with 2 cups of broth. You can always go brothier. You can't really go back once you've gone too far. Of course, I forgot to film this part, but you can now add in everything else into this soup. Your tomatoes, your leftover vegetables, whatever else is going in here, go ahead and put it in. Bring this to a boil. Once it's boiling, turn it back down. Take it to a simmer. The longer it sits, the better it gets. Just let it sit there. Now on the side of this, I wanted some cornbread like my mom would make. She always made a classic white cornbread. So I'm just using the Martha White cornmeal mix, using the directions on the back of the package. However, instead of the 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, I'm using a 1/4 cup of bacon grease. And it made all the difference. This was amazing. Also, please peep how beautiful my pan is after making this cornbread. I'm going to have to start making it just for this, just to have a beautiful pan. All right, make a bowl, top it with some sour cream, Greek yogurt, cheese, slice of cornbread. So good, so easy. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I kind of see this being geared towards people who haven't had to cook for themselves very much just yet. And so that's what I'm here for. I am not a chef. I am just somebody from Louisiana, so I'm basically a chef. Our food is superior, just so you know. If you come from anywhere else, no, I'm kidding. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.